Let's add a little bit more to this. I'm just going to remove this method here because I don't really want to have it right now. So let's remove this and just keep this one here. What I want to do now is I just want to create a very simple component, and instead of just using what they created, we're just going to create our own real quick. So click component here, make new file, and let's call it cakes. And remember .vue, so like this. Now, if you installed some of the things that I mentioned in some of the very first videos from the level 1, I think 1 or 2, some of the plugins for Vue, you can do vbase like this and use a tabulator to create this. If not, just write this out by yourself. So you have template, script, and style. What we want to do in here is just quickly create some data that we're going to loop through like we already tried. So we're going to create some data for cakes, right? So data, yes, I want that one. And let's go here, it's an object. I want to return something. Can I spell? Yes, there we go, return. And what I want to return is just an array of cakes, right? So cakes. And this is going to be an array. And geez, I have cheese. Cake. What else cakes are they? Strawberry cake. I should have picked something else. Pirates. I know pirates. Black BS cake. Right? No. I don't know. Chocolate cake. Chocolate cake. Awesome. We have 3 cakes. So how do we print those out? We of course use our for loop, and I'm just gonna print it out inside the ULLI. Right? Oh, sorry. I'm just going to use my emmet to create those. So for each element in cakes, I'm going to print them out, right, for in an LI. So a new LI for each time, that's a v4 like we did before. And if you remember how to do this, the first one we declared, we give it a name. So I'm just going to deploy the singular one is called cake in cakes, the plural one, right? So this will give us the repetition, the iteration for each time there's a cake. But if you're using, like I am using Visual Studio Code, it complains that we're not using any keys. So let's just create that real quick, like so. So we're using the key of index just to have this here. This won't, for now, we don't have any errors, but it's not going to print anything out. There's nothing here. So what we need to do is we actually need to register and import our component into our app over here so we can use it and actually see things and print out the names of the cake. So let's do that. We need to first go to our, let's see here, sorry, oh, wrong button. Here in our area where we have our script, just below, we need to import our cake, or our component that we created. And the name of this right now is cakes. So let's go cakes. We want to import cakes from, and then we're going to declare where we want to import it from. Now this can vary depending on where you are with your where you put everything. So I put it in my components folder, right? So I need to state like I would with the CSS file. So /components, make sure you spell it correctly, and then the name of this cakes.vue. If you created it with a capital C, make sure you put a capital C there. So right now we're importing this into our system, and it's going to give us a small, no errors yet, and now it's actually ready to use it. What we need to do next is we need to, down here in our export file, we need to declare or register .components. So kind of like you would create a method or whatever we've been doing, watches and so on, we're going to do something called components. And components is just a place where we say, well, in this particular Vue file, we want to use a component, we want a reference to this. So if this component has data, in our case cakes, we want to grab those and use that to or the button I showed you online, right? So we're going to call in our app here, and we start off by giving it a name. So actually we could just do this, cakes, that was just register it, but At times you also want to register a name if you want to use it for something else, if it doesn't really fit, so locations or something like this. So the first one here is just creating the name we're going to call it by in our HTML, and this one actually goes to the correct component over here. And I have an error because I need to punch in my line here. So let's try this, and now we're going to import our object up here, just like they did on our page here, where they just, where did the button go? Here we go. So here they're declaring the name. Where did it go? Up here they're declaring the name of the button, and then they're just punching this in the HTML. So where we want to use it, that's what we're going to do. Our name is just cakes. There's two ways of doing this. You can do it like this, cakes, and then /cakes like this. That's one way of doing it. Or the easier way is just like if you're importing an image, you just do this, right? So you don't have to write cakes and end it and then open with a backslash, but you need to make sure it's ended like this. So these are two ways of doing it. I can just leave both so you can see if we can actually print them out both. But let's click save. Let's go to our browser. Let's see what happens. It's printing out 6 different things at least, so I know it's working, but let's figure out what it is. So right now I have cheesecake, strawberry, chocolate, and up here I have my link, and maybe you've spotted it if where the problem is. And time's up. We need to create the interpolation. So what do we want to type in here? What we want to print out is, for each iteration, of course, is the cake. So let's do this, cake for interpolation, and now we have cheesecake, all these cakes. And that's kind of how we create our first little simple component that just grabs all the information that we have, and it's now connected. So recap real quick, we're importing it here, we are declaring it here, and assigning it a specific name. So if it was 2 S's, let's see what happens. Boom, still works. That's weird. That's strange. No, okay, now it doesn't work. It was just not updating quick enough. Because if I wanted this to work, I need to add the S and S up here. I forgot to save apparently, but this is just a name that we're assigning to it, so we want to call it. And then we created our component here with information and just printing out. And that's how we do this. That's really all there is to creating a simple component. And that's it. Cool. See you in the next video.